Good morning, Hill City family. How are you doing today? I am so excited about this series we've been on, Make It Work. Why am I excited? I'm not only passionate about you living your best life, being at your best. I'm so passionate about you having bliss, having the best experience when it comes to your relationship. So every time Pastor Eg and I have the privilege of teaching on relationships, modeling about relationships, it makes a huge difference. Now, I hope you've been making the most of this series, listening over and over again, sharing with other people, and we've come to the third installment, and I count it a privilege to be speaking to you today. What do I want to address? It seems to be one of my favorite topics now. Maybe I would say favorite for now, because I think, God has given me like a blueprint that is really phenomenal. In every relationship, the fight never stops. So I will be speaking to you about positive conflict resolution today. Open your heart, listen, be ready to glean biblical principles, practical wisdom that would help you fight right. Because in every relationship, there would always be fights. It is how we fight that makes the difference. And remember, what do I desire for you? That you are indeed like a tree planted by the streams of water. You do not wither. Whatever you do prospers. Listen, open your heart, and I believe your life would not remain the same. Through every conflict resolution that you have to push through, your relationship gets better and better and better. And indeed, you prosper on every side in Jesus' name. Let's go to the teaching now.
There's no way I am taking this from you.
And you will watch your tone when you talk to me. Really sorry. I'm really sorry.
Hi, everyone. It's a privilege to be sitting across and speaking to you today. Now, thinking back, by 7th of December 2026, I would have been married to the love of my life, my husband, for 20 years. And I remember when we met, I thought, so before getting married, we dated for 5 years and 6 months, and he was my best friend, and we understood each other so well. And I thought, compared to other relationships or compared to what other people said, we would never have reasons to disagree or have conflicts or fight or argue. And then the first misunderstanding came, and the second one, and the third one, and the fourth one. And I think so far, in over 26 years thereabout, I have lost count. In fact, I believe what I can say about our relationship is the fight never stops. So if you're sitting across me today, if you're listening today, and you've checked your relationship, whether you're in a season of bliss right now, or you're in a season where it looks as if you're having back-to-back conflict, then you are not alone. I came to realize that conflicts are inevitable in authentic relationships. In authentic relationships, truly, the fight never stops. Why is that? Because even though we love each other, we can't want the same thing at the same time. So there are times where we want different things. And there are times where we want the same thing, but we want it at different times. And another reason is because we are imperfect people doing life together. I'm imperfect, you're imperfect, but the beauty is we're blessed with doing life together. In fact, John Maxwell puts it this way, that good people do bad things. Smart people do dumb things. So there are times where your husband, even though he's good, would do some things that are wrong. Or your wife that is very smart and intelligent would practically say things that sound to you as dumb. Yes. Have you looked at your spouse at times and say, oh, I think you can do better? Now look in the mirror. If you're saying that about your spouse, then there's a tendency that your spouse is saying the same thing about you. So if the fight would never stop, if conflict is inevitable, what do we now do? It is how we fight that can be different. That is what makes the difference between a couple that it looks as if they never fight, they never have conflict, they never have issues, while there's another couple where it looks as if it is back-to-back bickering, argument, shouting. It is because the couple I talked about first fights the good fight, while the couple I talked about next fights a bad fight. So which one would you choose? The bad fight or the good fight? Now, bad conflict, when you talk about bad fight, that means you are having bad conflict resolution. Bad conflict resolution brings about a negative effect. You are drained. You don't understand each other better. You feel like you want to take a walk. You are frustrated. While good conflict resolution, which I call the good fight, brings you to a better place of agreement. And everybody needs agreement. Let's look in the Bible. I'm going to be reading from Matthew chapter 18, from 18 to 22. Let me read the Message translation. This was Jesus Christ talking to his disciples, and this is him talking generally about us as believers doing life together. It says, take this most seriously. So this is something that we need to pay attention to. A yes on earth is a yes in heaven. A no on earth is a no in heaven. What you say to one another is eternal. I mean this. It emphasizes again. So if you're able to come to a good place of agreement, it is powerful, right? When two of you get together on anything at all on earth and make a prayer of it, my Father in heaven goes into action. So once you and your husband can be in agreement, God is looking out for your agreement. God is looking out for you wanting the same thing at the right time. And heaven is ready to go into action. Whether about your children, whether about your finances, whether about your feelings, whether about your health. It goes further to say, and when 2 or 3 of you are together because of me, you can be sure that I'll be there. God is with you. Now, Jesus Christ saying this powerful revelation, like, I need you to be in agreement. I need you to stand together. And once you're saying yes together, heaven is saying yes. Once you're saying no, heaven is saying no. Now, verse 21. At this point where he just gave this powerful revelation saying, take it seriously. I mean it. Be in agreement with one another. Peter has the nerve to ask, Master, how many times do I forgive a brother or sister who hurts me? Because Peter is saying, even though you're saying we are in agreement and we should do life together, there's a tendency for whoever I'm doing life together closely to hurt me, to break my heart, to betray me, to misunderstand me, or make me feel irrelevant. And so when he asked, because you say, how can in this moment, this is not the question that you should be asking, that how often should I forgive? And he's like, maybe by the 7th time, if we can't make it work, then I can take a walk. Then I can give up on this other person. And then Jesus replied and said, 7, hardly. Try 70 times times 7. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine that you begin to count that the number of times you're going to offer your husband grace or offer your wife grace is just 70 times. I put it to you that even if you bring a journal and start counting, you will get tired of counting. Jesus Christ now says you are not going to count just 70 times. You are going to count 70 times 7 times. That means Jesus was saying in the parable that the fight never stops. You are hurt and you forgive. You are hurt and you forgive. You are hurt and you forgive. However, the more there is that misunderstanding and it is forgiven and is properly resolved, positive conflict resolution brings you to a better place of agreement. It only gets better and better and better. So I've been able to establish that the fight never stops. And I've been able to establish the fact that it's not about the conflicts because they are inevitable. It's about how you fight. So I put before you today, just like it was said in the scripture, life and death. Let's take bad conflict resolution as death, and let's take positive or good conflict resolution as life. Which are you going to choose? I'm going to beg you, please choose life. Choose good fight. Choose to fight right. Fight a good fight at all times. And I promise you, as long as you keep choosing to fight right, you would always have good fruit to show for it. Allow me to pause, and I want you to say something to yourself right now. I know that your husband hurt you. I know that he betrayed you. I know that your wife could do better. I know that the pressure has been intense. But I need you to check, have I been fighting right or have I been fighting wrong? Pastor D, how will I know if I am choosing bad fight over good fight? The first thing I need you to pause and say to yourself today, let me read it out loud to you, is my responses are not valid just because I feel justified. Can you breathe in? Breathe out. Let's pause. Can you say that to yourself? My responses are not valid just because I feel justified. You might feel that your spouse deserves less, but you need to choose your response. And whatever response that you are being given is not valid just because you feel the person deserves it. You need to choose to respond better in love. And how is it that the responses that you're choosing have not been right? Let's look at the scripture together. Maybe, let's look at it this way. Ephesians chapter 4 from verse 31 to 32. I'll be reading from the Passion Translation. What did Apostle Paul say here? He says, lay aside bitter words. If your response are bitter words, even though you might feel justified saying those words, they are not valid. Right? Lay aside bitter words. Temper tantrums. Bang the door. Shout. Storm out. Lay it aside. Revenge. Profanity. And insults. Lay it aside. But instead, be kind and affectionate towards one another, as God graciously forgiving you. Let me ask you again. As God graciously forgiving you, then graciously forgive one another in the depths of Christ's love. No matter what happens, God keeps choosing you. He loved you so much that he gave his son, and Christ laid down his life for you. And no matter how much you keep refusing Christ, his love is so deep, so wide, so high to be able to cover whatever wrong that you do. He always offers you grace. Lovers in the house, if you have ever enjoyed the grace of God, what you should choose to do is to offer grace in your relationship. Fight a good fight at all times. Because in a marriage, when you fight a good fight, conflict becomes the price that you pay for a deeper level of intimacy. I wish I was that smart, but it was one of my professors, Les Parrots, that said that. And let me say it to you again. When you fight a good fight, conflict becomes the price you pay for a deeper level of intimacy. Conflict becomes worth it. Conflict indeed takes you to a better place of agreement when you choose to keep fighting a good fight. So how do you fight? Let me leave you with 5 commandments of fighting well. Number 1, so I've said it in a fun way so that it is memorable. Eat that frog. What do I mean by this? When you are offended, or when you sense that your spouse is offended, or you sense that there's a disagreement, or some things is not sitting right with you, not sitting well with you, address it. Don't leave things to fester. And then when these issues are addressed, please, when your spouse is expressing their grievances, their reservations, their pain, their hurt, resist the urge to shalaye, if I can put it that way, to get defensive, to begin to explain away. Why not listen and acknowledge them first? So that is the first commandment of fighting right. Let me jump to the next one, because the next one is almost going to be a contradiction, but I need you to hear me well. Don't sweat the small stuff. You see, this one there, it's a struggle for me. My husband will say, Denrele, you can't give the same level of attention to everything. You can't deal with everything with a level of intensity. Do you understand? Now you need to choose your battles wisely, women especially, right? You can't be everything that you address. You can't make a big deal of every issue. Know this and know peace. I think you need to be able to say this prayer to yourself again and again. This is the prayer that you need. Oh Lord, grant me the wisdom to accept the things I cannot change. Stop sweating the small stuff. So I know I told you to eat that frog. I know I told you to address things. I know I told you to bear your grievances. But there are times it's a small thing. Leave it. Let it be. Hold your peace. And then you guys can enjoy life together, and you can save your breath for dealing with bigger issues. Do we have a deal? Yeah. So number 3, set your record straight. While you're eating that frog, while you're addressing the issues, please ensure that you define clearly what exactly you're dealing with. Have you ever found yourself arguing or fighting your spouse? After 2 days or 3 days, you now begin to ask yourself, what gongon caused the fight? Has it happened to you before? What exactly are we fighting about? You can't even remember clearly because you have mixed up. You're not telling Pastor D, yes, he's been doing some things over the years. It's a mixture of, calm down. If you want to fight right, set your record straight. I need you to clearly define the issues at hand that you are dealing with until the both of you come to a place of mutual understanding. Express your feelings directly. Deal with the issue. Don't attack your partner. Ensure you express how intense a matter is to you. There are times where we say some things casually. Meanwhile, your heart is really breaking. The times where there are things that are deal breakers for you, that is really threatening your relationship. And honestly, your husband cannot sense this. Say it exactly the way it is. Set your record straight. Let's go to number 4, home run now. And this is very important. Stay positive. Chart the course of your conversation to end the fight at hand. That should be your target. Not because you want to sweep things under the carpet, no, but because you want to get yourself, remember what Les Parrott said, to a deeper level of intimacy. So don't come to vent. You see what the apostle said? It's not the time for temper tantrums. It's not the time to insult. It's not the time for bitter words. It's the time to set the tone of the conversation in such a way that you diffuse the tension and make the situation better. And to stay positive. As spouses, as partners, it is good that you focus on what your partner needs. Now, what do the women need? If I can quickly say, maybe top of my list, a woman needs a safe place. And when you say safe place, a lot of times the men think of, oh, she needs enough money put aside for herself and the kids and everything. The first safe place is, can I trust you? Am I safe in you? Are you considerate of me? Would you put me first? Would you make me your priority? Can I be at rest when it comes to relating with you? A woman does not want it. A woman actually needs it. If we're going to stay positive, then the woman too, you need to focus on the needs of the man. And the first need, even though you guys would think is something else I would say, but the first thing that a man needs is honor. The man needs to be respected. And I want to tell you that honor the man that you hope for your husband to be, not the man that he is right now. It's not about what he deserves. Remember that we said that your responses are not valid just because you feel justified. Honor. And you will see your husband step up. So finally, I'm now going to go to number 5. But never stop staying positive. It helps a great deal. Number 5. Just in case you got into a bad fight. Just in case you didn't do things right. I'm going to say, avoid a relapse. Never break your resolve to fight the right way. Pick up yourself and ensure you decide to fight right the next time. Don't say, I can't help myself. Don't say, I messed it up already. No. Admit the fact that, oh, that was a slip. I shouted, I was not supposed to shout. Oh, I was vengeful. Oh, I've not been positive. And pick up yourself again and fight right. So number 1, eat that frog. Number 2, don't sweat the small stuff. Number 3, set your record straight. Number 4, stay positive. And number 5, avoid a relapse. Keep fighting the good fight. Faithful is who has called you, and faithful is he to do it.
Les Parrott says that conflict is the price for deeper intimacy. From your experience, ma, would you say that the frequency of fights reduce as a couple matures, or they just get better at conflict resolution?
Yes, Les Parrott definitely said that conflict is the price you pay for a deeper level of intimacy. Now, as a couple matures, emphasis on matures. Don't think maturity that we're dealing with here is, oh, you've been married for 5 years, you've been married for 10 years, you've been married for 15 years, so naturally the fight would reduce. Or your ability to resolve conflict positively would increase. No, it does not happen automatically. What I like to say when I speak to my couples is there are certain skills that you need to intentionally acquire, that you need to intentionally improve on for you to experience a long-lasting love relationship. Love is never enough. It's about having a long-lasting, in fact, I like to say a lifetime love relationship. One of the skills is actually conflict resolution. The more a man pays attention to acquiring this skill, the more the woman does that, the more you understand each other and pay attention to what your preferences are, what you don't like, what works. Yes, you will find out that you will not sweat the small stuff. You will learn to eat that frog better. You will do some things better. So the fight will tend to reduce. There are times where Pashegun does some things and honestly, I just look at him like, and then I let it go. And there are times where we just need to look at each other and we get each other. But it takes intentionality. The more you are intentional about resolving your conflicts positively, the better you will get at it.
Drawing from the Matthew 18 scripture, where it talks about forgiving 70 times 7, where does a Christian draw the line between practicing biblical principles about forgiveness and protecting themselves from toxic and or emotionally damaging cycle?
Okay, thank you for your question. Now, I think I should start with this statement. When it comes to forgiveness, you should always remember that forgiveness is not a gift that you're offering the other person that has offended you. It is actually a gift that you're offering yourself, first and foremost. So practicing the biblical principle of forgiveness is not in question. That's why it's in the Lord's Prayer. That's why Jesus taught it. We would always forgive. 70 times, 7 times. Oh, Pastor D, what if it's very, very grievous, whatever? We always forgive. That is not in question. However, I need you to know that the teaching today in one session can't be exhaustive. That's why I promise I'm going to sit down and write a book on positive conflict resolution in relationships. Because another thing is, even though you forgive, there are other steps that you need to take depending on the pattern in the relationship. Forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. Forgiveness does not mean you keep relating with the person at the same level in the same way. So there are adjustments that you would need to make. There are boundaries that you will need to set. If the two of you do not see eye to eye on the same level when it comes to certain values and certain matters, then that means that relationship needs to be adjusted. You don't need to keep subjecting yourself to negative patterns or cycle of emotional abuse or damage. You set the boundaries. You adjust the relationship.
Under the Eat the Frog commandment, you advise addressing disagreements immediately so they don't foster. So how do we balance this with stepping back and trying to cool off so you don't react out of anger in the heat of the moment?
Yes, eat that frog was the first commandment of fighting well that I shared. Now, if you notice how I addressed it, I didn't say attack immediately. I didn't say have conversations immediately. When we say eat that frog, or when I say eat that frog, I mean don't allow disagreement to fester. And when I say don't allow disagreements to fester, it is when we have that tendency to wish away a disagreement, or just wish that somehow the resolution will just happen by itself without taking responsibility. So a lot of times we keep quiet, we ice ourselves out, we avoid having difficult conversation, and somehow we sweep things under the rug, and before you know it, that rug is going to make you fall in that relationship. So depending on your temperament, depending on how intense the issue that you're dealing with, there are times where honestly you need to cool off first. There are times where you need to take your time before you start speaking. I like what Pashek would always ask me. What do you want to achieve with this conversation? Do you want to vent? Or do you want a resolution? Do you want this resolved? Do you want to be able to make progress with this conversation? Or you just want to talk for talking's sake? And I'm like, yes, I want to make a difference with this. So you take your time. You plan. You marshal your points. There are times where you're like, okay, it might not be the best to even talk physically. There are times where I prefer to send text. And what I do with the text is I will not send the text one after the other. I will type it at once, one message, so that everything enter at once. So my partner or the people that I lead or a friend is able to take time to see the whole conversation and be able to take time to take it in. And then the next time we see, we can talk. Do you understand now? So I'm not saying in the heat of the moment, address the issue. I am saying don't live in denial. Don't wish things away. Don't put the responsibility of resolving an issue positively or resolving a conflict positively on your partner. He should know. She should understand. No. You address the issues. Don't let it fester. Make sure that if there's any grievance or agreement, they are addressed properly. And it's not that you leave things over the months, over the years, over time, and then when that's become complicated and issues are all mixed up, that's when you're now talking and say this happened last year, that happened 20 years ago, that happened 6 months ago. I'm saying once you are sure this needs to be addressed and you're given enough time for things to be properly looked at, sit down, have that conversation, make that phone call, send that message.
I really appreciated the statement. My responses are not valid just because I feel justified. I'd like to ask, what practical mental steps can we take to self-regulate, especially when our emotions are screaming that we need to retaliate?
All right. Yes. The first mental step that you will take is keep repeating that statement to yourself. My responses are not valid just because I feel justified. Now, if you remember the scripture that I read, which I think I want to read it again, I read it from the Passion Translation. It says in Ephesians 4:31-32. Let's read it again. Lay aside bitter words, temper tantrums, revenge, profanity, and insults. There are times where you feel justified to use any of these. No, it is not valid. Then what do you do instead? Instead of focusing on not doing these negative things, now let's look at what should I do instead. Instead, be kind and affectionate towards one another. Pastor D, but this time you see what my husband is saying and doing. Be kind. Be affectionate. But I don't feel affectionate. No, you are not justified. So no matter what I say and how I say it and I will be kind, I will be affectionate, not because the other person deserves it. At every point in time, look at how much you break the heart of God. Look at the extent that Jesus went to be able to save you. It says here, as God graciously forgiving you, then graciously forgive one another in the depth of Christ's love. You look at the depth of the sacrifice. You look at the weight of the sacrifice of the cross. And that is how you look at your spouse. That is how you look at your partner. Offer grace well ahead of time. Offer grace. Why? You are a product of grace. You need grace. Your partner is offering you grace too. And even if in the heat of the moment it looks as if you don't need it, you are still going to need it. So pay it forward. So what's the mental steps that you will take? The first thing is keep repeating that statement to yourself. Keep repeating it to yourself. Keep repeating it to yourself. And then no insult, no tantrums, no shout, just those profanities, no revenge. I will do my own back. Or how do we say it? But be kind.
Okay, so for many couples who are my age, who are adjusting to living together, and it can be tough, majoring on the minor, ignoring some bad habits and unintentionally, you see bad habits, you can't say anything. How do we practically draw the line, between choosing our battles wisely and unintentionally checking the person's bad habits, how to manage it? At what point do we draw the line? Thank you.
Yeah, I will still stick by it. You're a new couple, you're an old couple, you've been married for years, you just started dating, or you've been dating for long. Don't sweat the small stuff. You can take this advice from me because I'm still learning, I'm still growing. I seem to deal with every matter with the same level of intensity. And I've learned the hard way, and I'm still learning and unlearning. Now, let me tell you something. You are called to raise your children, not to raise your partner. You should love your partner. What I like to tell couples when I work with them is this. You need to accept the fact that your partner is different. And you need to appreciate that difference. Start from there. A lot of us, it's because we want to change our partners, we want to control. So yes, we're adjusting to one another. If you say no to certain things right now, they would not fester, they would not. But there are some things that you can let go of. And some you will learn by practice. Some ahead of time, since you are acquiring this skill now, you begin to learn not to. So I wish there were fights. I didn't like toothpaste. I remember I was having a session with a couple. I was premarital counseling. And guess what the fight was about? Who will lay the bed? Why can't the two of us lay the bed? Right? And the lady and the guy was like, you will lay the bed. In fact, the thing made me laugh. I didn't say a word because I've learned not to sweat this small stuff. I was just looking at them like this, and they went on and on. Then eventually now decided, you know what? I will lay my side. That was the lady speaking. If you like, don't lay your side. Guys, you will leave my side like that. Guess what? That was premarital counseling, right? 2 years later, I think they're married for over 2 years now. I asked them, how far? Is laying on bed causing fight? They looked at me, they laughed. I said, laying on bed, okay. If we knew that there would be bigger battles and bigger things to deal with, we didn't even remember. It was in our folly that we're arguing about that. That is the same thing for you. Some things that look as if it's a matter of life and death today, it's not that deep. So you can learn to let it go. Always offer grace. Always ensure that you're not dealing with the small things too much because you would have expended energy when it's time for you to deal with greater battles. You don't have any strength left. So I'll say to you again, choose your battles wisely. Let certain things go. Don't sweat the small stuff. If it's a deal breaker, deal with it. If it's really a big issue, deal with it. If it's not a matter of life and death, offer grace, let it go. And I believe you will be a man of peace, you'll be a woman of peace, and you will enjoy bliss in your marriage and in your relationship. God bless you. I believe you have been blessed. I hope you have not only listened, but you have made a resolve to ensure that you embrace positive conflict resolution, because this would not only make a difference in your life, it will make a difference in all your relationships, especially the romantic relationships and your marriage. Even though the fight never stops, what happens when you fight right? You get better and better and better and better. Now, it's been a beautiful series so far. Do you agree with me? How would you maximize this? You need to listen to the messages again and again. Don't only listen for yourself, practice them. And as you practice them, share what you have learned with others, because the more you teach, the better you get. We have 2 more weeks to go. 1 session of teaching. What would you do for me? Invite your loved ones. Share the link. Go on YouTube, share the link from the different teachings that we have with other people and let them know it's a beautiful experience, but it's better when they experience it in the room. The final session this month is going to be a Q&A session. You know, we've been dealing with questions, but you see this particular service, it's going to be us answering your questions. Scan the QR code right now. Send your questions ahead of time. Let's take time to look at these questions and let's answer together. It's going to be a beautiful experience. I look forward to seeing you. I don't only look forward to seeing you, I look forward to seeing your loved ones, your friends, your colleagues, your neighbors. Let's make it work together. God bless you. Cause His face to shine upon you. Till I see you next time, keep blossoming in your relationships.